Have you ever wondered why India and Pakistan, two countries with shared history and culture, stand divided today? Our story begins in the era of British India, an expansive region that encompassed what we now know as India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. For over 2 centuries, the British Raj ruled, weaving an intricate tapestry of shared experiences, cultures, and histories. This vast region was a mosaic of diverse religions, languages, and cultures coexisting under the British Crown. However, as the 20th century dawned, the winds of change started to blow. The seeds of nationalism were sown and the people yearned for independence. The Indian National Congress, established in 1885, became a prominent voice advocating for self-rule. Parallel to this, the All India Muslim League, formed in 1906, emerged as a significant representative of Muslim interests. As the clamor for independence grew stronger, differences between these two key players started to emerge. The Muslim League, led by Muhammad Ali Jinnah, feared that a united India would be dominated by Hindus, leaving Muslims marginalized. They proposed a separate nation for Muslims, an idea initially met with resistance but eventually accepted as a solution to avoid civil strife. The British, grappling with the aftermath of World War II and a waning empire, were keen to expedite the process of decolonization. Lord Mountbatten, the last Viceroy of India, was tasked with overseeing this monumental task. His plan, known as the Mountbatten Plan, proposed the partition of British India into 2 separate dominions, India and Pakistan. The announcement of partition in June 1947, based on religious lines, sparked a wave of communal violence, mass migrations, and unimaginable human suffering. Amidst this chaos, on the stroke of midnight on August 15, 1947, India woke to life and freedom. A day later, Pakistan emerged as a new nation. Thus, in 1947, 2 countries were born out of one, marking the beginning of a complex relationship. With the birth of the 2 nations came the birth of disputes and conflicts. As India and Pakistan emerged on the world stage, they did not just inherit the grandeur of their shared past, but also a series of complex issues that would sow the seeds of discord for years to come. Immediately following the partition, one of the most contentious issues was the fate of the numerous princely states that dotted the subcontinent. These states, under British rule, were given the choice to join either of the 2 newly formed nations. While most made their decision smoothly, there were a few that posed significant challenges. The most notable among these was the state of Kashmir. Kashmir, a princely state with a predominantly Muslim population but a Hindu ruler, found itself in a unique predicament. The Maharaja, Hari Singh, initially wished to remain independent, but escalating violence and an invasion by tribal forces from Pakistan forced him to seek assistance from India. This led to the signing of the Instrument of Accession, bringing Kashmir under Indian control. This event sparked the First Indo-Pak War, a brutal conflict that began in late 1947 and continued until early 1948. The war, characterized by heavy casualties on both sides, ended with a United Nations-mediated ceasefire. The resolution of the ceasefire left Kashmir divided and became a thorn in the side of India-Pakistan relations, a thorn that remains deeply embedded even today. In addition to Kashmir, other princely states like Junagadh and Hyderabad also became sources of conflict. Junagadh, with a Hindu-majority population but a Muslim ruler, chose to accede to Pakistan, which India did not accept. Hyderabad, on the other hand, wished to remain independent but was eventually integrated into India following a military operation known as Operation Polo. These early years set the tone for the relationship between the 2 nations, a relationship marked by conflict and tension. The disputes that arose in the aftermath of partition continued to cast a shadow over India-Pakistan relations, reminding us that the echoes of the past are always present in the dynamics of the present. As decades rolled by, the discord between the 2 nations only seemed to deepen. This period witnessed 2 major wars that shook the subcontinent, namely the wars of 1965 and 1971. In the sweltering heat of August 1965, the conflict reignited. The cause? A series of border skirmishes that escalated into a full-blown war. The war lasted for 17 excruciating days, with both nations claiming victory. Yet the war ended in a stalemate. with no significant shift in the territorial status quo. Fast forward to 6 years later, in 1971, the discord took a different turn. This time, it was not about territorial disputes, but about the liberation of Bangladesh, then known as East Pakistan. The war was swift and brutal, lasting a mere 13 days. It resulted in the birth of a new nation, Bangladesh, and a significant shift in the geopolitical balance of South Asia. Yet, even as the dust of war settled, one conflict continued to simmer beneath the surface: the issue of Kashmir. An apple of discord since the partition, Kashmir has been a flashpoint of conflict between India and Pakistan. The picturesque valleys and mountains of this region, often referred to as heaven on earth, have been the backdrop of countless skirmishes, cross-border firings, and standoffs. The issue of Kashmir, more than anything else, illustrates the complexity of the Indo-Pak relationship. It's a saga of territorial disputes, ethnic identities, and national pride, all rolled into one. Despite numerous dialogues, peace talks, and ceasefires, the solution to the Kashmir issue remains as elusive as ever. So, what do we see when we look back at these decades of discord? We see a history marked by conflict and confrontation. We see two nations born from the same womb, yet locked in an unending cycle of hostility. Despite agreements and treaties, peace remained elusive. And as we move forward, the question remains: can these two nations ever find a path to lasting peace? The turn of the century brought new challenges and dynamics in the Indo-Pak relationship. As we stepped into the nuclear age, both nations displayed their nuclear prowess, adding another layer of complexity to their already intricate relationship. In the late 90s, India and Pakistan conducted a series of nuclear tests, marking their entry into the exclusive club of nuclear-armed nations. This development sent shockwaves around the world. The international community watched with bated breath as these historical adversaries acquired the power to inflict unprecedented destruction. But the nuclear tests were not the only events that shaped the Indo-Pak relationship during this time. The Kargil War, fought in the high-altitude terrain of Kashmir in 1999, brought the two nations to the brink of a full-scale war. This conflict, coming just a year after the nuclear tests, heightened tensions and further strained their relationship. Yet, in the face of these challenges, there were also attempts to bridge the divide. The peace process, initiated in the early years of the 21st century, sought to resolve long-standing issues and promote mutual understanding. There were moments of hope, such as the groundbreaking Lahore Bus Yatra by the Indian Prime Minister in 1999 and the joint declaration signed by both nations in 2004. However, the journey towards peace has been anything but smooth. Highs have been followed by lows, optimism has been replaced by pessimism, and progress has often been derailed by incidents of cross-border violence. The peace process has been a roller coaster ride, reflecting the complexities and contradictions inherent in the Indo-Pak relationship. As we move further into the 21st century, the relationship between India and Pakistan continues to evolve. The nuclear age has added a new dimension to their rivalry, but it has also underscored the need for dialogue and diplomacy. The stakes are high and the challenges are many, but the pursuit of peace remains a shared goal. The 21st century has seen a mix of conflict and attempts at peace. So, where do we stand today in the relationship between India and Pakistan? In the present day, the relationship between these two nations continues to be a patchwork of conflict and cooperation. Despite the turbulence, there are efforts to foster dialogue and peace, a testament to the resilience of diplomacy. The issues at hand are not just political, but deeply social, cultural, and emotional. Continued disagreements over territories, terrorism, and trade often dominate the conversation, yet it's crucial to remember that there are also stories of shared history, common struggles, and mutual respect. There's a recognition that peace and prosperity are intertwined, that the destinies of these two nations are forever linked. Efforts to enhance people-to-people contact, cultural exchanges, and cross-border trade are some of the initiatives that hint at a potential future of coexistence. The relationship between India and Pakistan remains complex and multifaceted, as it has been since 1947. The history of India and Pakistan is a tale of shared roots and divided paths. We've journeyed from the birth of two nations, sprung from the same soil, yet propelled onto different trajectories. The early years saw them grappling with their newfound identities, their shared history marred by conflict and discord. As the decades rolled on, the discord deepened, fueled by political, religious, and territorial disputes. In the shadow of the nuclear age, both nations navigated a precarious balance of power, their destinies intertwined yet distinctly separate. Fast forward to the present day, where despite the challenges and tensions, there exist threads of commonality, shared culture, language, and history. The nations stand at a crossroads, their future as unpredictable as their past was tumultuous. The journey of India and Pakistan, from being one to becoming two separate nations, is a saga of shared history, divided paths, and a hope for peaceful coexistence.